All right, we're back. We're back to working on the 1968 C-10 and no, wait a minute, in bright white. I'm a little flustered about this, but I don't know why. So, welcome back. We're going to work on the bottom of the cab. I'm going to take you on a 360 and look at everything, but this is where this is going to be for a minute. I don't have everything, necessarily where I want it, but I'm going to tell you a story about this in a minute. But let's look at what we got going on. So last week, I think we finished up the front. Now, I didn't get the entire, I don't know, cab support. Yeah, I know. It's selfie stick time. A little different view of the roof. I mean, for you guys, you've probably seen this angle because I can put a camera up there. But for me, this is, flat surface area. I can really kind of look at it. I'm not going to work on it on this angle. Mainly, I guess you could sand it. It's just not that comfortable. I'd rather be on a step stool working on a flat surface like a table. But I can wipe this down real good. And I notice with this truck, I've mentioned to you guys before, every panel, everywhere on this truck is dents. There's dents in the top, dents in the back, dents behind the, right on the top part of the cab, dents in the back of the cab. Now I see there's ripples through here. So there's a dent right there, a dent right in here. So I can pencil those, mark them. So when I'm working flat, I'll have a better idea where they're at, but that's more work. Which is more fun, right? But we can really look in this real good. Clean this right down to the nitty gritty. And then I already showed you that's done. You'll see that again later, the firewall. So let me whip you around back so we can get started on the back of this and what all we have to do. I don't even know what you could see. Inside's coming along. I got my kill mat, but I didn't put it in because I was worried about weight. And a few of you guys are thinking, weight? What are you worried about weight for? I think I'm going to stand on this side. I don't mean weight like wait a minute. I mean weight like isn't heavy. Flipping this up on its nose like this, I videotaped it, but nothing went wrong. I mean, it was awkward, and excuse me, I'm okay. I just tripped. I probably looked retarded doing it, but I was scared. I'm always scared when I'm flipping stuff over because if it flipped on its top or something, that would be a bad day. Okay, enough about that. But I want to tell you, if you ever have one of these cabs like in your shop floor or in a garage or something, it's a good idea to build a wood rack, kind of like what I have here. Instead of if you're not going to buy a lift, you can build a 2x4 rack with wheels and you can roll it around, do what you need. And when you get ready to flip it over, I would suggest 2 people. I did this alone, but I used the engine hoist and a bunch of safety straps, and I probably spent a half hour gearing up to do it. And quite honestly, this thing doesn't weigh anything. What I mean by that is, if you've ever moved a refrigerator, they are way heavier than this thing. You're not lifting it. I just, flipped it on itself. So you probably could do it all alone, but 2 guys could easily flip this thing up on its back, up on its front. So I wouldn't sweat that. So it doesn't look like much. There's not a whole lot to do here, but yet there is. See, I don't have my cab supports in yet. My bolts are there. I don't think they're tight. Yeah, washer moves. So I have to remove this cab support, put a new one in. This is a lot better access. Even I could sit in a chair and figure out what I'm going to do and weld whatever I need to do. You can see my previous butt weld there, full penetration. Everything's good. I got a couple of these little wires sticking out where it poked through. I'll clean all those off. But we're going to replace all 4. Well, I already did that one. So the other 3 cab supports. But at this point, we can come in here and clean this metal all up where we lapped it. We can see we've got good solid adhesion in here. But we clean this up. We can seam seal it. Get in here and undercoat. We got some surface rusty areas. Might as well scrub all this down. Any of this is loose. I'm gonna scrub it all off. And like this, where this cab corner was replaced, I think we knew that. I still don't think that one's ever been replaced. But for some reason, there's a whole lot of extra metal on it right here, which all manufacturers are. We've talked about that in the past. But I'll trim that up, clean this up, undercoat up in these lips, every little layer. This will be fun for me to just sit and paint for hours. But I know these bolts have welded nuts on the side, so I can pull those out, put our cab supports back in here. This one doesn't screw in the inside. You got to weld it. But we'll get all into there and weld it. And then you can see my patches. Now, I'm going to stand in front of this. You might think, well, what if it fell over? I have 2 lifting straps. They're official for that. I think they're 1,100 pounds a piece. This whole thing doesn't weigh 1,100 pounds. And I've got them hooked up near the ceiling just to keep it from falling on me. But I got to clean all this wiry garbage where I patched that hole. I've filled in all these holes somebody drilled. So that's what we're after today. We're gonna get this together. I got a sheet metal screw I never took out, which is fine. I'll just grind it off right there. This one's gonna be tricky, but not a big deal. Not a big deal. I'm kind of excited to have it up here where it belongs. Just checking out all my work and seeing how it worked out, how it glued up and how it welded up. All right, let's get started with the part that's not as much fun, running a wire brush, but it's what needs to be done. Oh, just got to do what you got to do. Busy week. I'll take you for a shop tour in a minute. Starting with a little bit of farm work. It's not time to farm per se, but I've got some winter maintenance I haven't got done because I kept saying later. Yeah, you knew that. But these are, there's a little, see, stuff like this. Little metal burr from cutting something off. Just clean them up and not cut yourself. Lots of cleaning. Not so much fun work to watch, but you can see even where the undercoating looks good, you run a wire brush across a few times, you can see where it's flaking off. So a lot of hours, a lot of time, just making sure we got any loose debris off. And I'll start undercoating this. This is kind of like the bottom of the old box I had flipped up on its end. Looks like when I welded that, I melted that stuff pretty good, which is all right. I'm going to put new on it anyway. Yeah, it's definitely tar. I just charred it. So a neighbor of mine, nobody I know, who lives a couple miles away, he sells hay as well. I sell hay if I have extra. And I've never talked to the guy, but a neighbor had come to me for hay and I was out. So he went over to that guy. And the next time I talked to the guy, he says, well, I went to buy hay over there at your neighbor's and he's got I don't know what year. He's got a bluish, I'm not good with colors, or light green, old 67 to 72 pickup. Like, well, I'm going to have to talk to him, get over there and take a look at it. I guess he bought it in North Carolina. And it's pretty much, it looks to be all original. Of course, everything got painted in the 80s, so it's on its second paint job. But his cab corners and rockers, even the fenders, are all good. They got a couple bubbles in them here and there, so that's going to need some patchwork done. But as far as cutting them out and replacing them, no, it's a pretty nice truck. If he gets in there and does it up good, it'll be a nice truck. It's, again, all original and needs to be done. But the baseline of that truck is nice. Hopefully I can talk to the guy. Maybe we can get a little visit. You guys might want to see that. Be kind of neat to see what he's doing with it. My neighbor said he smelled paint. So I thought, well, maybe the guy does a lot of these vehicles. Maybe he does it all the time and I just don't know it. Heck, he might be a YouTuber. Neither one of us know each other. I don't know. That patch job's pretty good. This one here got a lot more wires hanging out, but get these all cleaned up, seam sealed, undercoated. We're not far from working. I'll get this done maybe this week, if not next week for sure. And then we'll flip it back up and get that top going, and we can get it put on the chassis. Then it's going to feel like we're getting somewhere. I'm pretty pleased with this up on its nose. I didn't know if I should go on the back or on the front, but with all this back in here, I'm kind of glad it's up here at eye level versus it would have been down there. And I know that all down there is good because we finished that already. I don't know what I'm going to do with these. I got to cut them out. Look how rotted that is. There is nothing left of that. Of course, I already did this one. That wasn't fun upside down. And of course, this one's cut off, but you can already see there's not much metal left of those. I might leave the tail on where it goes into the I don't know what you call these, support rails, because the old ones, you can see the large flange behind them. They were fit that way so that you had extra support. And if I cut them out, yeah, I can kind of hook back to it. But I almost think I'm going to weld right in here somewhere. Leave the center part that never rotted. That's rock solid. That one's probably going to come out completely. Same with this one. Like I did the other side. I won't be cutting this part out. It's solid. They're in good shape. I'll be coming in this area somewhere and just replacing this end. Show you more details when we get there. That bothers me. I'm just going to clean that up right across there. And we got some goofy metal on sandwich metal GM did without seam seal. So I want to get them filled up. So this is where I'm going to be for the foreseen future. Yeah, that's all them wires stuck through. Ooh, there's some greasy gunk I don't want to get in my wire brush. Anyway, you're not going to watch me spend the next hour and a half with this, but that's what I'm doing this week. Not a whole lot to show you, except that you guys finally got your first full view of this. I'll give you a close-up if you want, but you can see my welds and where I panel bonded it together, and the panel bond sticking out. I'll show you real quick before I cut you off for the week. So here's all my, I know that was kind of fast. Again, I don't know how well without zooming in you can see, but this is where I scraped off the metal so I could get a good bond. And there's actually a little bit of panel bond in some areas that when I smash it together, you can see there's a bead. See, I can catch my screwdriver out. So there's a bead sticking out. And even where there's not, I can watch the shiny metal from the bottom of the box and the shiny metal from the rocker, inner rocker. And there's a black line right down through it all, showing me that there's no gap of material. Maybe right here there's a little gap because of that fold and the bend on the top. But all these straight areas are solid panel bond. They're attached good. The welds are good. You can see my weld up in here. Good all the way down. Good thing to double check yourself. You never know when you might have missed something. But there's that. I don't know when I can show you the other side just because you're here. This is the other side. It's in pretty good shape. I mean, I can see the panel bond goes out the whole way. And there's where we filled in from our tech screws. Those are seam seal sticking through. So that's going to clean up nice. Up under here, you can see the bolts where I bolted that one in. So we got work to do down here, but not more than, I would think this week I could knock those 3 cab supports out. Quick shop tour before you go. I know I didn't do a lot of work with you, but next week I'll show you some more work. This has ate up a lot of my time. Oh, I forgot to tell you about, I always forget something. Here's the shop tour, working on my Mini. Again, I only spend 30 seconds on this. If you don't care, just wait 30 seconds. Basically what I had here is a bushing wore out the bottom of this lift cylinder. The bushing is no big deal. And then the reason I took the bucket off, I replaced all these pins last year, 2 years ago. Well, the ones I didn't do, I thought were good. Here I am doing them. But I'm going to replace one in a bucket because it's kind of sloppy. But I'm really happy with how things are going. I got a little bit of electrical work to do on it. I just got my lights fixed today, but it doesn't shut off right. How many people complain and worry about something shutting off right? It's a diesel. It likes to run. Anyhow, that's enough of the shop tour. Last thing before I let you go, here's the interior pieces. Now, if you recall, I had talked about trying to homogenize things, get a good flow going. Got a white truck. We're going to have black. What? We're going to have black. I don't know. I'll get to black in a minute. There's plenty of. Oh, black carpet, black door cards, gray seats, white dash. You know, somewhere we got to kind of tie things together. So I'm going with gray. Tom don't like this. Tom, I haven't talked to Tom yet. So Tom, if you don't like this, we can always change the color. But I think going from white outside to the gray dash, black dash pad, and then I don't care, it's black steering wheel, just common. And you can go gray or white on the steering column. But once you get into the truck with that white outside to the gray dash and the black dash pad, and then you'll have black door cards with, well, I haven't painted them yet, but gray armrests. And then on top, where it's going to be all white inside, you'll have these gray visors. And then these here are the top of the door. I don't want to touch them. On top of the door card, there's a piece of metal. Sometimes they're chrome. These were painted, and when I cleaned the paint off, they were bare metal. So the door card slides into it. So being that that door card is black, sliding into that gray rail with the gray armrest, I just think it's going to flow good. There's enough about that. So I know a few of you guys are wondering right now, how do you paint things like visors and armrests? Well, they sell special paint. I've tried it. It doesn't mean anything to me. It doesn't work any better. What I do is take these in the kitchen sink. Wife loves that. And scrub them down with soap and water. Get everything off you can get with soap and water. Then I use the spray Goo Gone. And just to get any oils, because this guy had just greasy hands. It must have been a mechanic because the armrests were just grease packed. So I go over that real quick and just make sure there's no grease or oil or anything on it. And then before you paint it, don't prime it. Two things about priming. I didn't finish painting, so we'll get to priming in a minute. The last thing after I get these, everything as clean as I can get it, vinyl. Use some kind of acid to it. You need to etch that vinyl a little bit to make the paint really stick to it. Now you do have all the little grooves and crevices and everything. That holds pretty good. But if you use a mild acid, it'll etch that. And your paint will stick really good. You can use, it doesn't matter, anything that's got an acid. You can go buy some acid. Just be careful with how long you leave it on, and by all means wear some gloves because acid is not good for your skin. I used Wink on this. It's just a rust stain remover. Doesn't really matter. Whatever you etch it with, just leave it on a couple minutes, rub it around, let it do its thing, and then neutralize it. Soap, water, rinse, clean, re-rinse, re-clean. Now you've got it to the bare vinyl. You can use any paint you want. I prefer a shiny paint. It's going to be more durable. It's not going to absorb your fingerprints and oils. This happens to be, I'll show you what this is another time, but this stuff missed really nice. But this gray was the best gray color I could find. I just got it Menards. It's what they had. But I tried a couple grays. Some of it looked like primer, where this actually looks like gray. You just mist that paint on that vinyl really light and let that dry 10 minutes and mist it again. Be patient. Let that dry 10 minutes. Then you can start getting a good coat of paint all over everything. Don't overdo it. As soon as you get a good color going and you got everything covered, these were blue before. So once you got them colored completely, let them go. The best thing I can tell you is let it dry in a cool area, like a garage or something, out of the sunlight, because the slower this cures, the more flexible that paint will be. I've never had this come off, peel off, scrape off. I guess you could scrape it, but I've never had it happen. The only thing that will happen eventually, like anything that you coat, eventually the paint will wear off the armrest, for instance. Never had it happen to a visor. But they turn out pretty good. There's my painting visors and vinyl story. Folks, I don't know what to tell you other than thank you for coming to watch the video this week. Next week, we'll have a little more of this going on. We'll cover at least one of these cab supports. I don't know which one, but something I can video good here. Maybe just because getting in here to cut things is going to be awkward, I might have it cut and the new piece fit and ready. Maybe I'll do the bottom one because I can get you guys in overhead to see it. I don't know, but I'll show you how I do one and where I weld it. And then we'll seam seal everything, have it coated and colored. And done. We're rolling now. Thanks again for watching. Thanks for coming. Give me a like, subscribe. Couldn't hurt a thing. Could help me. You never know. That way you also know what I'm up to. Goofiness. Gotta go.